Hey there, this is Nick and Michael here with the Superhero Training. Just giving you the heads up that we've got a video from David Wolfe following on from this, and he's going to be talking about living and staying in the holy flow, and all of those points that he's making in there, they're expanded upon in our audiobook Amazing Grace, and we gave you a couple of chapters of that a few days ago, so you can get access to that on this blog, and also the superhero video explaining what a superhero actually is. That's on here as well. So if you haven't checked that out already, check it out. And of course, we want to be living in amazing grace. We want to be living in the holy flow, and we can do. All we have to do is make the adjustments to our way of being that allows us just to sync up with it. A very, very simple, natural process that requires you to do a little bit of fine-tuning inside yourself. So what's Avocado going to be talking about, bro?
Yeah, so this video is talking a little bit about getting grounded, because the superhero's journey isn't some sort of far-out woo-woo thing. It's very grounded, taking responsibility for our life, doing what we love, and being the president of your personal services corporation, as he calls it, which I thought was quite funny. And also, you know, doing what is easiest for you, because each of us has a dharma, has a purpose, and when we follow that, then all those other things, the synchronicity, the divine flow comes, and everything becomes easy. So David's talking a lot about that and other things. So this is a very grounded, practical video for your journey.
Yeah, and we find it particularly inspiring, and Avocado as well, because he's a great example of someone who just has been doing and continues to do what he loves, simply what he loves and believes in, even when years and years and years ago that was just such a far out crazy idea that someone could actually become extremely successful just you know, telling people to eat raw foods. You know that, and that's what he does. Yeah. Telling people to eat raw foods and inspiring them to become superheroes in their own lives. So we love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out the video, and if you missed those other ones, check those out as well. And we'll look forward to sharing more with you a little later on.
All right, enjoy. Aloha.
Aloha.
I'm David Avocado Wolfe, here to talk to you about living in natural magic, getting into the holy flow, and living in the auspices of amazing grace. Well, we're under the auspices of amazing grace right here. This is a Carambola tree, otherwise known as star fruit, and I'm 40 this year, so I still climb fruit trees, and that's how I stay in the grace. You got to completely apply yourself in every way possible to the abundance that is here. There's a lot of abundance up in this tree. We've got some great fruits right here. Totally delicious. But before we do that, watch this. This is something that most people are not aware of. I noticed this. I was up in that tree earlier. Right here is wild asparagus. That's wild asparagus right here, climbing up into this tree. See it right there? Look at that. Boom. And if we look closely, we might be able to even find a shoot back in here somewhere. Let's see what we can find. Probably a little late in the season. As the asparagus grows, obviously, it opens up and it becomes like this. So we've all seen asparagus shoots that you buy in a store, but they're young. This is what happens when it's mature. It actually opens up into a plant that looks like this. There was a great book written by Yul Gibbons many, many years ago called Stalking the Wild Asparagus, and that's the first book that tuned me in onto finding wild asparagus. Well, we found it. There it is. No young shoots. They're really delicious. Every part of the plant is edible, but the root is really the part that you want. All right, now to get back into the holy flow and stay in the grace, we're going back into the Carambola tree. Of course, nature's law is abundance. Tons and tons and tons of food. Always. It's hard to stay in abundance when we're on the other diet programs that are out there, namely the scarcity diet programs, which is diets. We're onto the livets, and we're about to get even more living. Here we go. All right, now, so I'm going to climb into this tree. We've got Charles with his picker. He's up there getting the big ones. But it's always fun to climb into your favorite types of trees. Make sure you're still young. Stay in the abundance. But for sure, as anyone knows who's been on an exercise program, you got to keep the momentum going. Because with the momentum, it gets easier and easier. Look at that. That was a good one. All right. All right, good. Greetings, everybody. This is David Avocado Wolfe. We're now back in the apartment where I'm staying right here in Miami Beach. 16th floor, beautiful, amazing beach view here. We've got the fruits of our labor. Carambola, star fruit, which we are enjoying in this luscious paradise down here in South Florida. We're, of course, going to be discussing the holy flow and staying in the grace. And I referenced a little bit about momentum, which I'd like to touch on. The holy flow is the 80-20 rule. Have you ever heard about the 80-20 rule? The holy flow means that 80% of what you do yields you only 20% of your extraordinary results. And 20% of what you do yields you 80% of your extraordinary results. And the holy flow means guiding yourself ever more carefully into the more productive aspects of what you're doing. In essence, it's about getting into what's easy for you. For me, what's easy is doing events every night, bringing several hundred people or even 500 to 800,000 people into a room and entertaining them for 2 or 3 or 4 hours with great information where everybody can celebrate in all the abundance and wonder of what's out there that is positive and good for all of us. Now that's easy. Some people would look at that and go, that doesn't sound like what's easy for me. What's easy for me is doing accounting at night and doing these numbers. Now for me personally, that's terrible. I would never want to do that. That's not easy for me. So we have to find what that thing is for us, what our role is and what our dharma is, our mission in life. And for some people, they're going to say, oh, I don't know what my mission in life is. If you don't know, no problem. You're the president of your own personal services corporation. And what would be wonderful is if you could bring all of the excellence you've got and everything you've got and every way you've got it to what you are doing each moment. And I remember thinking that when I was just a kid, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I was working at my aunt's grocery store in Columbia, Missouri. And I remember thinking, how do I bring excellence to this? Even though what I was doing, bagging groceries and that kind of a thing, wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life. I do remember actually having that thought even as a teenager. By the way, when I was working there with a gentleman by the name of Mike Adams, who you may know from the Natural News, who's literally a health food guru today. We worked together back then in my aunt's grocery store in a little town in Columbia, Missouri. Imagine that. You never know who's right next to you. You never know who you're talking to. You never know how your current job, your current role, and what you're doing in the world could blossom and unfold when you bring excellence to it. Now let's get back to getting into the flow. The flow has to do with constantly, always looking for where the action is. For example, I've had situations where I was supposed to do an event in this one place and it kept getting canceled, it kept getting changed, the person decided they wanted to move the date. It wasn't in the flow, so I just canceled the whole thing. I said, you know what, it's not in the flow, boom, gone. It's so much easier that way. And I found that when I'm in that frame of mind and we're running into a bunch of hurdles and I say, you know what, forget it, we're doing something else, that everybody is so relieved who's involved. Because they're, of course, bumping heads with all of the riverbanks. They're bumping heads with all the things that are in the way of the flow, that are blocking the energy. And as soon as I say, yeah, forget it, they're just so relieved. And what an energy to have if you're running a business or directing a group of people, to just allow the flow to happen so that you're not sending your people into a tsunami, right? We want that tsunami to be behind us. We don't want to be running into it. That would be kind of against the law of nature. Anyway, the amazing grace that we've referenced, Nick Good and I have been talking about this for years now, is an energy that comes over you. It surrounds you like an atmosphere. You breathe it in. And it's an energy and an aura of being. It's a way of being. When you're directing yourself towards what's easy for you, which may be hard for someone else, when you're directing your life into a stream of noble and interesting and leading edge thoughts, then the grace sort of becomes available to you. And then you decide if you're going to surround yourself with it, or have it surround you, if you're going to breathe it in, if you're going to make it a way of being in your life. This all becomes a lot easier, of course, as you develop momentum. And I want to talk about some esoteric ideas that we hear about. Do what you love and the money will follow. Do what you love and there you will find your treasures, which is all true. No question about that. However, the idea that you get to only do what you love from the very beginning is a little bit naive. You have to take on all the roles as an entrepreneur. You have to take on all the roles as the president of your own personal services corporation. What that means is so at some point you're going to have to answer the phone, and it's going to be up to you. You're responsible. You're going to have to do the administrative work. It's up to you. You're responsible. You're going to have to do the taxes. It's up to you. You're responsible. You're going to have to deal with the legalities and the city ordinances and the licenses and the bureaus and all that. It's up to you. You're responsible. You're also going to have to do the work that you are set out to do, your mission. And that development eventually, as you gain momentum, fractionates into people who will support you to answer the phones, to do the administrative work, to handle the legal, to handle the bureaus and the licensing and all of that kind of stuff. And that is really where we come into what's real, right? Instead of looking at things that are kind of like esoteric, no, I just do my art and that's all I need to do. That's a little bit silly. We want to bring it down to earth, and we want to realize that if it's going to be, it's up to me. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And another one, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. Those are the calls, the affirmations of a true president of a personal services corporation, or somebody who's really taking on the role as an entrepreneur. As we get further, we develop that momentum, all that stuff gets taken care of for us, and we can move more into what our destiny is, which is completely focusing on what our mission is and the core work at hand. Nevertheless, we always do want to keep an eye on all the different aspects and know how every aspect of our life, of our family, of our business works. Because if we outsource it too early without having that core competency, we may be paying a price later. I've gone through that myself. Be careful. In a final note, the essence of going with the flow and the 80-20 rule and surrounding yourself with the energy of grace, the essence of it really comes down to outsourcing everything that is not your genius. I'm not an administrative genius. I outsource it. I'm not a legal genius. I outsource it. I am not a genius in accounting. I outsource it. I do have a core competency in it because I learned that, and that's that rub. That's that area where the interface with the real world occurs. But now I've outsourced it, and I've outsourced it to competent people. Very important to select excellent people around you when you do what you love and you're in the flow, and you're also taking care of the dotted I's and the crossed T's. Excellent people will show up because they see that you're bringing excellence into every moment of what you do. I'm David Avocado Wolfe, wishing you the best day ever. Stay in the flow. See how it grows. Get that momentum and that tsunami behind you, pushing you forward, and flow right in to the grace.
Hey there, this is Nick and Michael here again. Hope you really enjoyed that video. And please, please, please leave us a comment, because we love your feedback. We love hearing from you. We love knowing that you are really there and that you're on the program and that you've been inspired by the things that we're sharing. And we really, really, really take your feedback to heart, and we adapt and we adjust things to help you, help us, and just so the whole thing's feeding through in a more and more powerful way. And we've got lots of more wonderful stuff coming up for you, haven't we, brother? What else we got coming up?
So coming up, we've got the completely relaxed meditation to really get you in the zone, to get into that holy zone, that holy graceful moment, to experience that whenever you want. We've also got a live call with David Wolfe coming up, or the recording of it, depending on when you get this video. And we've got another video also about how to really ground in your vision and connect with your dharma, your purpose, and start getting on with that. So plenty of more goodies to come very, very soon. So stay tuned. We look forward to hearing from you, because this is a two-way conversation. It's not just us. You're part of our tribe, part of our family, so we love to hear from you. All right, so enjoy. Aloha.